Greetings all, this is Harry Nick back again with Mr. Justin. How are you?
Not too bad.
Excellent. Well, it's only been 5 minutes since our last recording, so
Exactly.
I would hope that you're still well. Our throats are still completely stuffed, but whatever.
We need to let the people know all this information.
Absolutely. So we had rough translations of the Resistance and First Order kit spoiled just recently, in case you guys missed that. Now, this First Order article, which appeared on Reddit, we don't know what language this is. I fully accept my ignorance there. This may be Polish just like the other one. Might be the same person, although the images do look a bit different, so whatever. Just as they were translated in the Reddit article, we're going to go through these one by one and talk about them with the images on the screen for you here with the English translation. So, first of all, we have a bunch of tech cards, or a bunch of upgrade cards here for the First Order. Pattern Analyzer. When you complete a full red maneuver, you can perform one action before the difficulty check, which is just a reworded way of doing it the old way, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look at things like the A-Wing and the T-70 X-Wings, and I think in general, with their pilot abilities, they want prime thrusters more than this. Nothing really jumps out at me as being super important on a red maneuver. The Absalon can do full stops. Yeah, and then do their actions, and that's going to be relevant with some upgrade cards.
Yeah. They've got jam, don't they?
Yeah, they got jam. It's a very, very good point. Additional bit of upside there, for sure. TIE FFs can take target locks, which is pretty cool, especially when they have to rotate their arc. It does specify one action, so you can't rotate the arc as well. Got to be very, very careful with that. So it's the same clause as advanced sensors. You don't get to do all the extra stuff. Pattern Analyzer, advanced sensors, blah, blah, blah. It's limited. A lot of the things in second edition now have hard limits on them just to make sure nothing gets too out of control. And that seems fair. I can't work out exactly what it's going to do in terms of meta play, but Pattern Analyzer was always relevant in first edition. I can't see why it won't be in second edition.
Agreed.
Let's move on. Okay, this is a bit of a word sandwich. Biohexacrypto... Let me try it again. Biohexacryptological codes.
Well done.
Thank you. Tech for the First Order with a target lock. When you coordinate or jam, you may declare a ship as your target, ignoring range limitations if you spend your target lock on it. Coordinate or jam. So coordinate means you have to use up a lock on a friendly ship, which means that lock has less downside. You'd only be using that lock on your friendly for this ability. If you have a lock on your opponent, you can use it to reroll dice or jam them at long range.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Options are options. I always dig this.
So this is basically only going to go on the...
Upsilon, I think mainly. I specifically look at jam and go, yeah, it's really powerful.
Yeah.
Being able to jam from all the way across the board is going to be hell on your opponent. Now, you've got to spend the lock, which means you don't get it back unless you're in range again, but you lock at range 3 and you jam at range 1. That's a very powerful bit of reach. I don't think there's anything that lets you do both in the same turn. Whatever. The fact of the matter is, at the start of the game, you can lock one of your friendly ships and then coordinate them when they go off in some direction. That's going to be really cool alongside aces.
Yeah.
Being able to coordinate all the way across the board. Yeah, cool. If there's an Upsilon Silencer, Upsilon SF, SFFO kind of like 2 or 3 aces alongside an Upsilon, this is going to be very relevant. Points are important here. This might be very expensive, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is, because it seems like it has a lot of potential upside. I like it a lot. It's a very efficient card, very Imperial feeling. Okay, we've got a couple of Force upgrades. Hate, Force, Dark Side only.
So this is the first time we've actually had a dark side only card?
Indeed, and this is exactly what I thought it was going to be. This was revealed in one of the CIS packs, and when you accept 1 or more damage, and I'm going to guess that the translation means when you suffer 1 or more damage, you get that many Force tokens. So a bit of a sad note for me as a Scum player. You can put this on any Scum ship with Darth Maul. That doesn't matter because you're not getting enough upside. Darth Maul already says when you suffer damage, you can stress yourself to get a Force back. I don't think you want to take Darth Maul just to get this. It's better than his ability, but not much better.
Yeah.
Darth Maul's already very expensive, so we're still waiting on the Scum faction on something relevant. or indeed the Rebel faction, because he can go alongside an Ezra ship, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff.
Ooh.
We don't have clarification yet whether the Scum faction just gets dark side abilities full stop. I doubt that they will.
Yeah.
I very much doubt that they will. Otherwise, Maul has very little relevance on the Scum faction.
That's true.
That is worth saying. So from that point of view, yeah, cool. It's a bit sad. But however, let's just talk about this in general. That's really, really cool. I like the ability of putting this on Kylo. It comes with Kylo arts. It makes perfect sense. Kylo is already wanting to get hit. Or at the very least, he gives you a insurance against getting hit. So you can double down that if you want.
Yeah.
I still think Kylo is going to be looking at supernatural reflexes and sense and all that kind of stuff. But hate might just be dirt cheap.
Yeah, if it's dirt cheap, I reckon people will probably use it a fair bit.
Suffering damage is a lot of downsides. So I don't see this as being a very bad thing. It could just be like 2 or 3 points. And if that's the case, then yeah, let's talk about this. So as it stands on the First Order, it's just Kylo. On the Empire, we're talking Inquisitor,
Darth
Vader. I don't know if Vader really wants this. I think Vader just wants supernatural reflexes. I even think like instinctive aim is still better on Vader than this. I mean, again, I'm saying that without knowing the costings, but I don't think Vader wants to be taking damage full stop.
No. Yeah. Realistically, the Inquisitors don't want to get hit that much either. They're not very...
Not necessarily, but if it's cheap enough, we might have a 4 of Inquisitor build. Yeah. I still think the 4 of Inquisitor build with some upgrade that's going to be relevant enough and costed well enough is something worth looking at. This could be it. A 4 of Hate Inquisitor. So the Inquisitors are 40 points each. If this is less than 10 points, and I suspect it will be.
Yeah.
Look, I might have been wrong before. Maybe it's like 5 or 6 points, but you can do that as a 4 of with the Inquisitor. And just punish your opponent hard enough. Yeah, I know. It doesn't feel like a whole heap of upside because you're getting hit and then you're going to have another chance to use the Force. It's going to make it difficult to focus fire your Inquisitors.
Yeah.
I'm very curious about where this card sits in terms of points because it's going to be very interesting.
Also, how many you're going to get as well.
And that's a very good point because you only have one part that can use it. Yeah, that's annoying. That's annoying indeed. Oh, well, we'll see. FFG are using the business model now of getting more upgrade cards on the different factions through different packs. We already know it's going to be in the next wave with the CIS. I hope the next wave, again, with the Empire, there'll be some excuse to get it in. Cool. Overwhelming Shot, another Force upgrade. When you declare an attack and the defender is in your bullseye arc, you may spend 1 Force token. If you do, in the defense phase... which I assume is when your opponent rolls green dice. Yeah. The defender cannot throw more defense dice than the number of your hit and crit results, so the cumulative amount. So you're turning your opponent's dice into Legion dice. You only ever roll the amount of hits you see in Legion. So that's okay. Here we go. FFG is teaching you guys how to play Legion. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So if you're versing... it's not going to go great against big ships, but if you're versing an ace...
If you're versing an ace, and you hit them with one single hit, you go spend the Force, roll 1 dice. That means that the blank is... I like that a lot. Yeah. That's giving the middle finger to Vader, Sunterfell, your Fang fighters. If they don't have that evade token, you can punish them. I like it. I think ideally you want to... What's the best case scenario for this? Firing at range 3. Firing at range 3 with 3 dice against an opponent that would roll 4. That feels pretty good. Although it's bullseye firing arc, so range 3 is very difficult to pull off.
Yeah.
Firing with 2 hits or something like that. I don't know. One of you math geniuses in the comment, tell us the best way to use this. But I seriously think I'm just eliminating all those dice against your... 1 hit versus 3 dice feels really, really good. It blanks out stealth device. It says during the defense phase, so it's when your opponent's modifying dice. So basically it means you roll your dice and then you decide whether to do it. Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
That's this is going to have a lot of blowout potential.
Yeah.
I dig it. I dig it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be worth more than hate.
Yes, I think it has more upside than hate in general. Yeah. It doesn't need the inherent downside to make it work.
Yeah.
Also Jedi Knights, we should say as well. There's Inquisitors and Jedi Knights as generics. So, yeah.
So it's Oh, maybe it is going to be worth like 10 points or something.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I should say that the people that leaked all this stuff didn't show us all the contents of the boxes, so I would assume this is going to be in the Resistance pack as well, and hopefully in the Republic and not First Order CIS packs as well. We'll see. I just hope FFG keep printing these in all the different packs. Because they've just introduced another generic Force upgrade without giving it to the original 3 factions. So hopefully there's some way they give it to us pretty easily. Let's move on. Okay, I'll show you the dark side. So we already know that Kylo Ren is the same as he always was in his pilot seat. But to give your opponent, I'll show you the dark side, you spend a Force token. And he has 2 recurring Force tokens. The I'll show you the dark side card is also the same as it always was. After assigning this card, if there are no damage cards on it, the player who assigned the card selects one pilot damage card from the card deck and places it face up on this card, then shuffles the damage deck. It's worth saying that you can transfer this and keep the same card on it while you do that. When you would take 1 crit damage, instead you get the uncovered damage card from this status card, then remove this status card.
Yeah.
Cool. Now...
So, is it going to go under shields?
Yes.
Yeah,
We take one.
it should.
It reads exactly the same way. I don't imagine why it wouldn't.
Yeah.
Take 1 critical damage. Yeah, you still take critical damage even into the shields, unless there's some wording change in the rules that we're missing.
Yeah.
But let's talk about these damage cards, because we're no longer playing around with the arguably broken Blinded Pilot combo anymore.
Yeah.
We still have Blinded Pilot. It's still very good, but it's not just take away an entire attack.
Yeah.
Like it used to be. There's also Panic Pilot for 2 stress tokens that can be relevant on some things.
Yeah, against aces.
Yep, Stun Pilot, if they can't avoid obstacles, that's going to give you a bit more damage. In fact, in the right situations, that's going to have a lot of upside.
Yeah.
Also, Wounded Pilot to prevent your opponent from taking actions, which is really, really good. Yeah, these are all powerful. We're not talking like Pilot Skill 0, lose an entire attack. It's not as powerful as it was in first edition.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Second edition, everything has come down in terms of consistency, and I still think this has a lot of upside.
Definitely.
Let's move over to the TIE Silencer pilots. Eclipse, aka Blackout. And it is the same as the old Blackout.
Yeah.
Initiative 5, though, so it's matched with Kylo. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
We did already know that, so...
Yes. When you make an attack that is obstructed by an obstacle, the defender throws 2 fewer defense dice. It would be rolls in the English translation.
Yeah.
But yes, we've made this comment before. It's basically bad wedge. It's better than wedge when you're shooting through a rock. Now, the conversation I do want to have around this is the fact that in first edition, we were basically talking about VI on this to get it up to PS9.
Yeah.
Potentially push the limits. I don't think Trick Shot was that relevant in first edition because you're doubling down on a strategy that might not pull off. You don't have those other talents anymore.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Trick Shot on this pilot?
I think we are.
I think there's a good case for it too.
Yeah.
I think Trick Shot with advanced sensors to better enable that strategy, I think is very relevant on this. Initiative 5 is fantastic. Against Aces, against Whisper, eliminating all the dice that Redline throws just to really, really punish him.
Yeah.
Rolling an extra red dice yourself. Yep, that seems good to me. Like, you could think about your lone wolf, you could think about this, you could think about that, but I think ultimately there's nothing that gives you more value than the synergistic build of just using Trick Shot.
Yeah. Also,
That's my gut.
Trick Shot's 1 point.
Yeah, Trick Shot's fantastic.
Yeah.
Look, I wouldn't be surprised if it went up by 1 or 2 points in the next adjustment because it does seem to have that much upside and is seeing that much meta play.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's an interesting conversation to have. In the comment section below, guys, what build do you think we'd do on Eclipse? Let's move over to Recoil. We now have more than just 2 named pilots in the Silencer as well, which is cool.
I like the look of Recoil. Recoil is Initiative 4, and it says, when you have a stress token, you can treat enemy ships in your front arc within a range of 0 to 1 as if they were in your bullseye arc.
There's a few upgrades here, talents in particular. Predator, Crack Shot, Marksmanship. There's probably some other upgrade cards we haven't thought of here.
Yeah.
I think Predator in particular is very relevant here. Now, the Silencer, as far as we know, does not have missiles. If it does, we're talking proton rockets, but...
Did it have it in the movies? I can't remember if it shot missiles.
No, his buddy shot them.
Yeah, that's right.
It didn't have them in first edition. I don't see why they'd add them in here. So I think we're mainly looking at those talents, unless the First Order has some crazy kind of tech that they can use with this. But that seems pretty good. I think Predator at every single range one shot is not irrelevant. It's a TIE silencer. Initiative 4. It's not crazy. I think Eclipse and Kylo Ren are definitely better in terms of the conversation.
Yeah.
I think Eclipse and Kylo Ren are going to see meta play because of how relevant Initiative 5 is right now. Initiative 4 is a significant step down, but if it's cheap enough, I think it could see some play.
Yeah.
It's got a slot into the right list. Avenger at Initiative 3. When another friendly ship is destroyed, you may perform an action even while you're stressed. It's Chewbacca.
Yeah.
And I'm not confident that Chewbacca's going to see much play. With a swarm... But it's an action.
Yeah, but what are you going to do with a TIE silencer?
Target lock and take a better shot. Yeah, it's a lot of downside for not a hugely significant amount of upside.
Yeah.
I mean, you can boost and barrel roll and then you can do that into range 1.
Yeah, but even then, I mean, it's just not good enough.
It's situational. I'm not convinced that this is going to see much play. Let's move on. To the Shuttle, Captain Cardinal. When a friendly ship with an initiative lower than yours, he's initiative 4 by the way, defends or performs an attack in range 1 to 2, I'm guessing of you, if you have at least 1 charge, that friendly ship can pass 1 focus result. This friendly ship can pass 1 focus result. When an enemy ship is destroyed at range 0 to 3, you lose 1 charge. So he has 2 charges.
So it's going to happen twice.
This friendly ship can pass 1 focus result. The translation's a bit rough here.
Yeah.
Performs an attack in range 1 2. If you have 1 less, this friendly ship can pass 1 focus result. To you or to another friendly ship? It's a bit... Yeah, okay. Let's just move on from this one. We don't have enough information to really make a comment on this.
Yeah.
It sounds interesting. It sounds like swarm potential, but yeah, whatever. Lieutenant Tavson, Shuttle Initiative 3. When you take damage, you may spend 1 charge to perform actions. And it has 2 charges and they recur. So I'm guessing that's going to say an action, not actions. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So you can do it twice. Yeah.
Well,
it's not uninteresting,
I suppose you could do it twice in 1 turn.
And you can do it during the combat phase as well. Sorry, the engagement phase. So you could jam enemy ships that try to ram you. That seems really, really cool. And he's initiative 3, so this is more like the support carrier ship. I would think like something like your Snoke or your Hux sits on this ship. And he has some tech to help defend himself. It's like the non-generic pod that you would take to carry a relevant crew. Yeah. That could be interesting.
Yeah, it's sort of almost like a Lieutenant Sai or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lieutenant Sai is seeing a bit of meta play right now. Also, Kargi and all those guys. We'll talk a bit more about that when we get to the top 16s of the Nationals. Some interesting results there.
The next card is Backdraft. It is a TIE SF with Initiative 4. When performing an attack corresponding with your arc indicator, and the defender is in your back arc, roll 1 extra die.
It used to be at a critical result if you're firing at the back.
So this is a lot fairer.
Yeah, it's 2nd edition stuff. Yeah, for sure. So corresponding with the arc indicator, I'm guessing that's going to be a mobile arc attack. It's going to, in English, it's going to make a lot more sense to us. Defenders in your back arc, performing an attack corresponding with your mobile arc. So that could be a missile attack out the back as well. Which is relevant because that's something Backdraft couldn't do in 1st edition.
Yeah.
So it's not strictly worse in that regard. Yeah, I think this is a bit of extra potency. It's a bit of extra adaptive options you can have. I think this with cluster missiles is going to be very relevant.
Ooh, yes.
Being able to take on swarms at the front and the back. I mean, you can only do one or the other. You can't do both because the SF must fire out of its mobile arc.
Yeah.
But yeah. Performing an attack. Oh, you perform 2 attacks with cluster missiles, so you get the extra dice on both. So yes, when I say not strictly better, I mean it. Because there are situations where this is going to be very happy. It's going to be very, very happy about you getting that extra dice. It's going to be better than just adding a crit on 1 single attack.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
The next card is a TIE-FO with Initiative 0, which is very interesting.
New.
Yeah.
New, yes.
This is called Emptiness. While you are undamaged, treat your initiative as if it had the value of 7.
And if this is the undamaged, if this is the English translation of undamaged, as it is, it means you must have a damaged card, not just shield. It might be translated poorly. Just a bit of a caveat there. Just be aware of that.
Yeah.
We were talking about this before. You were saying shield upgrade might be an interesting thing on this.
Yeah. If you have 3 chances of staying at initiative 7,
that's a very good point.
You feel pretty good.
Yeah, 3 points of damage to get off initiative 7. Yes, shield upgrade's expensive on this because of the 3 agility.
Yeah.
I think just like the version of in first edition, which was a part skill 4 or 12 when undamaged, I think that is going to see play just as is. No points investment at all.
Yeah.
It's a little baby blocker that can arc dodge aces when you ignore him.
Yeah.
Punish your opponent for ignoring him, basically. It's one of those parts, in which case you probably don't want to invest points in him.
I think you might chuck on like marksmanship or
It could be
shot,
fun.
maybe.
Yeah, for sure. Something cheap.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I dig it. Emptiness is going to be really frustrating to fly against with like your Sunterfells and your Vader and that kind of thing.
Oh, definitely.
Give your opponent better targets than emptiness and you will frustrate the hell out of them, basically. Fly this alongside Kylo, fly this alongside a very powerful Upsilon, and force your opponent to ignore it, and you can punish them for it.
Yeah.
I like ships like that. It reminds me of Wampa. And that appears to be it from what we can tell. Again, we didn't see all the images of every little component in these, so perhaps in the Resistance or in this leak, there may have been things missing, so just be aware of that. Also be aware this is translated into English from other languages, so there may be a rules interaction we got wrong, but it seems to be all pretty concrete in terms of what it is.
Please take this with a grain of salt.
Absolutely, absolutely. But in any case, I really like the design direction of both factions.
Yeah.
They're not too dissimilar from the Rebel and the Empire in terms of Resistance and First Order, respectively.
Yeah, they're just sort of a beefed up version.
Yeah, well, the First Order is, what did they say, the Empire on steroids. The Resistance is the Rebellion, but more show-offy.
Yeah.
That is the key thing here. So now that we have all the designs, I can start to talk about faction identity. I'll make a separate video talking about faction identity, specifically of the Wave 2 factions. In the meantime, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Reddit and Twitter. Please consider supporting the Patreon. Thank you so much to all of our existing patrons. We'll catch you in the next video.
Bye.